It's LaRhonda Marie. He chose me.
I don't see my daddy.
Don't you count me out yet? I'm under construction. I'm a work in progress. I'm under construction. Don't you count me out yet? I'm under construction.
It's a family affair.
What's up, everybody? It's LaRhonda. It's welcome to Under Construction with LaRhonda Marie, and I'm your girl, LaRhonda Marie. And I am extremely excited about my guest today. It's actually my favorite guy on the planet, my dad, and I'm excited because I've been wanting to talk to him. And he's been wanting to come and talk to the audience. So I'm just excited that we have finally had time in our schedule to do it at the same time. He is not on here as of yet. So let's hope. I always have trouble with the men, but let's hope he gets on. But y'all know I got to take care of some housekeeping items real quick. Of course, you know I am a correspondent for Swag Her magazine. And if you are a woman, a boss lady, a teacher, a writer, author, a speaker, relationship coach, if you are in need of assistance in growing your brand, increasing your visibility, Swag Her magazine is definitely a wonderful spot to be a wonderful place to get that help. They have several different packages that are available, and so we just want to make sure that just make sure you go to the website and check out their packages and see if any of that can help you, because again, it can increase your visibility. And it just helps you brand yourself. So definitely check out Swag Her magazine. I'm gonna give you a little bit more information on that, and then I'll be right back.
Swag Her magazine is an empowerment and lifestyle publication for Black women who like to be real with themselves and in business. The magazine also offers public relations services and visibility coaching for Black women-led businesses, coaches, authors, and girl bosses so that they receive more exposure and grow their brands. To learn more about Swag Her magazine, please visit www.swagher.net. That's www.swagher.net. Check our swag. We're more than a mag.
All right. So if you're in need of those services, definitely check out swagher.net. Jog on over there and they can get you all set up. And so it's time. I'm gonna go ahead and let me make sure he's ready. Are you ready? Can you hear me? He may not be here. Let's see. Hello? What is he? I'm gonna bring him on. Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You wasn't answering when I was talking. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, I'm your guest. You introduce me.
Look now. This is the Reverend Ronald R. Leggins. Daddy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Ron Leggins. I'm the father of this young lady here, and she's asked me to come forward, and I'm glad to do it. And I'm always glad to be in the presence of my children. And so, since she's given me this time, I want to talk about under construction.
Can you turn your volume up? Because it's hard to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How about now?
Let me know if you're having trouble hearing him. All right, we're just gonna go ahead. So kind of talk up because for some reason your speakers are low.
speaker. Let me turn it
So my dad, I grew up in a Christian household. Thank you, Lord. And my dad was a pastor for the majority of my life. I feel like my whole life. I don't know him not a pastor. I'm sorry, a preacher. My whole life. So and then he pastored two churches when I was young. Um, Ebenezer Baptist Church in Seminole for a couple of years, I believe, and then Mount Moriah, which made us, which is the reason why we moved to Spencer from the east side of Oklahoma City. But he pastored that church for several years. I cannot. I think I was 16 when that pastorage ended, and then
up.
he went on. Go ahead.
I said that was 9 years.
You said 9 years.
9 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
9 years. So yeah, I think I'm hitting that right because we did leave, I believe when I was 8. So maybe I was 17. So yeah. I just know it was right before I was about to be the president of the East Side District, which was whack. But it's okay. I'm over it. I'm over it. But but yes, he did pastor for 9 years as I was growing up, and then as a grown up, he was a pastor again at a third church, Abundant Life Baptist Church. I think it's Abundant Life Missionary Baptist Church, where I was a member there for a couple of years there as well. So my dad was my pastor um, the first part of my life, probably for the first 20, 26, 27 years. This is who I would run to. I actually would go into the pastor's office and ask. I am that person that'll go to the pastor and speak to the pastor, and with counseling, and I would go to Daddy, and he would counsel. So, but anyway, enough about that. I wanted to. I gave you some questions, and then I have some questions of my own, of course, that I'm gonna just pop up in. Um, why do you think pastors' kids get a bad rap, Daddy?
A bad rap.
They always, well, they look at us. They when as soon as I say I was a pastor's kid, they be like, "Oh Lord, you a pastor's kid, or you a preacher's kid." They always give us this. They make it seem like we're
Well,
bad
well,
kids.
well. No, it doesn't mean that you're bad. It means that you're out front. And to answer that question is that it's not a bad rap. It's just that they understand that you are a pastor's kid. And then some people ask them, how the pastor's kids are. They think they're different. Y'all didn't think like that. And so, the pastor's kids, as far as a bad rep, that's just something that has been handed down to somebody that didn't know what they were talking about in the first place.
I agree.
Because the pastor's kids is just like any other family's kids. They grow up and they learn from their parents, and whatever educational pursuits they pursue is up to them. But there's no bad rap against being, a pastor's kid. People who don't understand it may try to think for you and say, well, she thinks she's this, she thinks she's that. But that's not the way you're thinking. And so that means they don't understand it. And just like your program is called Under Construction, we better watch it out. Because sometimes, if people don't realize that we are just regular people.
Right.
The kids are regular people. You went to school with them, you went to Star Spencer, you went to Rogers, and so they knew who you were. But it was a special thing because your daddy was a pastor. The pastor is a thing, not a thing, but it's the idea of a pastor. And then there should be some, so he think because, people can't think for you. And if they would think themselves, they would think differently than they think. But there's no bad rap against pastors. Look, y'all turned out just fine. Y'all turned out just fine. Look at you. I mean, you got a thing. I mean, I remember when you were talking to me about it when you was in gospel music. And if your audience don't know that you've been in it and they want you to get back, I said, but you came to me, and that's how this under construction came about.
Yeah.
And I said that people that are in the construction side, because when I was a teenager, I worked construction in summertime, and then when you on the construction site, you got to wear a hard hat. It'll tell you on the sign, put your hard hat on, and then
Right.
you go into a Christian church, and then people say something, and you tell them how you feel. And then they say, I didn't think she would say, well, you come into a construction site
Right.
and you're supposed to have your hard hat. She hurt my feelings. Well, you should have had a helmet on. And so that's the way I feel, sister. We are under construction. We are not a finished product, not yet. But when we are finished, the word is that we'll come forward, just like pure gold. But right now, we are under construction. Your program is under construction. It's not a
Right.
finished product. It doesn't yet to see what you're going to be, but your best is yet to come. But right now, when you come into this area, that's the Christianity coming into it. I didn't think you would see that being a brother. You better, wear your hat. And if you don't wear your hat, you're going to get your feelings hurt.
Right.
But you have a sign that says under construction. We are not a finished product. And if you get cursed out, well, Jesus, God cursed, but he just didn't use profanity. But when God cursed you out, he cursed you out. So it's just the way, because God is, he's sovereign. He doesn't have to explain why he did anything.
Right.
He's just going to do the program. So as far as pastors' kids get a bad rap, that's because they are in the spotlight. And you're under scrutiny all the time. But you're no different than anybody else. And, except for you, when you, I guess I'll let you talk.
No, you're good. What advice would you give young pastors about how to raise their children in the church?
Well, they don't need my advice. They need to read the scripture. Here's what it says. If a man desires the office of a bishop or a pastor, it is a good work. Now, here are the qualifications. You see what I'm saying? It said, first of all, he must be one who rules his house well. His children must be under his wife and himself must get along together. And so they have, I didn't try to teach y'all how to act in church. I taught y'all how to act at home. And when you go to the Lord's house, if you, like Mama used to say, or wherever you act up, that's Mama get you. She said, I don't care if you act up in the White House.
You right about that.
And so you know that from personal
Yeah.
experience, But the thing about that, that's what it is, And so, I'll leave it at that because there's a lot more that can explain.
Yeah, my dad was a dad that really lived by that. Where you act up, where you mess up is where he gonna get you. And it's not just him as a parent. That would be him as a pastor. Like I could see him talk to the people about whatever it is. He's gonna address it right then and there. I find myself, Daddy, when I'm in any church, when I'm looking at when I'm like I've tried, I was looking for a church for a while. It took me about 6 or 7 months to finally find the right church because I joined one church and I was thinking it was right for me, but you can't hear me? Huh? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you now. I'm trying to get. I've been hearing you, but I can't see you now. Something happened to this thing.
I don't know what. I can see you.
Okay, I got you now.
You got me? Okay. What I was saying
I can
was.
see you also. I see like
You see me every day when you look in the mirror, sir. But what I was
not
saying
not not
was,
not me. You me.
what?
What you
Oh, I
say?
thought you
What you
said
were
something else.
saying was, no, you
I
were
was
getting
what
ready to
I
make a
was
statement.
Yes, I was about to make a statement. I was saying it. I found a church. It took me about 6 or 7 months to find a church. And when I was looking, I look at how when I find myself when I'm looking at pastors, even when I've been members of churches, I'm always looking at how they handle things within the church. And
Right.
I would, and then I had a friend that was a pastor too, and I would come when I would go to his church. I would be like, my daddy wouldn't have handled it like that. He would have let them know they were out of order. He would have let them know, no, that's not going to happen, and you have to take control of your congregation. Anyway, um, so I find myself looking at the pastors and the first ladies actually on how they are with the people and how they treat the people. Do
Yeah,
you think?
you had an article. You had an article earlier. I mean, not earlier, but about pastors' wives or something like that.
Yeah,
Did you have
with the
something?
pastors' wives, yes,
The first lady. You okay? Well, I
the
thought
first ladies,
okay.
yes. Curly King Coleman says, "Hey pops, um, what does what does the Bible say about people from different religions and backgrounds marrying?"
Well, as you had, well, the Bible in the Old Testament, there were prohibited from marrying, intermarrying other people from other religions because they were just now getting to be who they were going to be, and so they didn't want that that marrying out of religion. But now it's common. It's commonplace now. I know people that was Baptist that married to a Catholic woman, and priests and stuff, all kind of people stuff. But the thing about it is, back then in that day, in biblical times, uh, Israel was supposed to be different from any other nation because Israel was chosen by God to be a representative of who God was and who He was. And so they were prevented from intermarrying. But in the Old Testament, you find out that Samson fell in love with he didn't want no city girl. I like foreign women. I like and so he fell in love with this girl called Delilah,
Mm.
and they told her, they said, Delilah, we'll give you 1,100 pieces of silver if you can tell us the story of Samson's strength. And so, after a while, after she loved him, she was braiding his hair. She said, Samson, you told me you love you, said out of the darling of your heart. You're making a fool of me. Tell me what your strength and source is. And he told her. See? And that's what I should tell brothers. I said, boy, you better watch some of them lamps that just lay in your head. Because Delilah is coming every man and every woman's life. And Delilah is not always a woman.
That's good. You gonna give it.
You drink.
That's good. What does the Bible say about drinking alcohol, Daddy?
Well, I tell you this. Can I tell you two things? Number one, Jesus was invited to a wedding one night. Ooh, they said the wedding was out of sight. And then his mama came over and said, they run out of drink. And Jesus said, wait a minute, mama, just let me think. And then he said, go fill those 6 pots of water. And then the man went and filled the water, quench all 6 pots of water. Listen, if you're listening, say amen.
Amen.
If you okay, now they had run out of wine,
Mhm.
and then wine in the Bible is a symbol of joy, and they run out of wine, and then Jesus' mother went to him and said they run out of wine. He said, "What I got to do? It ain't my party." But he told this man to go take the water and build 6 water pots, and each water pot held 33 buckets. And so when he took that water to the governor of the beast, and when the governor of the beast tasted the water that was made wine, he said, "Man, this is wonderful stuff. You different from most hosts. Usually the man when you get drunk, he give you that which is worth, but you have saved the best for the last." And so as you talk about wine, wine is a symbol of joy. But now in Proverbs, Solomon the proverbial writer says in the 20th chapter of Proverbs, he said, "Wine is a mockery. Strong drinks are raging, and whosoever deceived thereby is not wise." Now that's the key thing. In other words, what he's saying, wine makes you act silly, you know. But strong drinks, you know, you go in the club and somebody got some blue suede shoes on, you know, you go in there and you almost step up. But he been drinking not wine, but strong drinks. And he said, "You almost stepped on my shoe." Well, I'm sorry about that. "You almost stepped on my shoe." He cuts you out because you didn't step on the shoe. But see, strong drinks are race.
Mhm.
And so Solomon says that whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise, because you drink wine to enjoy, to give you up the taste of wine. You don't drink wine there in the book. And so wine in the Bible is given. You know, Jesus said, "Keep the party going. I gave you 180 gallons." And so Solomon says, "Be careful how you drink the wine. All things done in moderation," as Paul says.
Right. Everything in moderation. Yeah. What is fornication? Is it the act of sex or is it living together?
It's one and the same.
Hmm.
It's one and the same. Fornication is when two unmarried people or married people having sexual intercourse. You know how y'all did and how we did. But it was called fornication because the two people who had sexual relations were not married to one another. Now, one could have been married to somebody, but it's still fornication. That is, the individual can't fornicate by himself. And so that's the meaning of fornication is that there's two individuals having sexual relationships outside of marriage or in a marriage. Somebody might be married and did things. Remember the woman that was caught in a very active adultery?
Mm-hmm.
And they brought her to Jesus and said, "Master, this woman been caught in the very act of adultery. And the laws of Moses said such should be stoned. But what saith thou?" Now, you got to consider some things. How was she caught in the act of adultery? Okay, who caught her?
Right.
Well, how did they know where she was? Maybe they had been there themselves. But if you read the rest of the story, they wanted to stone her. They all walked away. And you have to ask yourself, what is that Jesus wrote in the sand? They read it and they said, well, some of these teenage boys, they was ready for their first stoning. And then, I don't know what they said, don't tell your mama about this, you know what I mean? All of them dropped this stone from the youngest to the oldest. They dropped the stone and walked away. And then sin no more. In other words, what you have once been delivered from, you don't want to try to go back again, because it'd be 7 times worse. Once you've been delivered, that's what he told. He said, go and sin no more. Because she was actually judged just like O.J. Simpson in the court of public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a judge in the court of public opinion, you're going to lose every time.
Right.
Yeah. And so,
That's good.
what else? What was the question that you asked? Let's see if I answered.
I was asking about fornication. you answered it.
Yes, and see that at that time, women who didn't have a husband, that was the only means of getting money. So that's why they call prostitution the oldest job in and the reason why they dropped them stones, because some of them probably was over there too.
But what does the Bible say about
Now,
tithing? What does the Bible have to say about tithing? Is it money or can it be time?
well, it's more than just those two, because the word itself is tithe, which means tenth. But the phrase is tithes. It means more than one, more than two. Time, talent, your money, whatever you can do. You see, there were some people when I was down in Seminole, that first church, we were talking about we're a New Testament church. And we don't believe in tithing. And I said, well, the tithing principle is neither Old or New Testament. You see, because the tithing principle began 430 years before the Bible was written. And so it is, you remember Melchizedek, the king of peace, the king of Salem, and the Abraham came back, he paid tithes. So it's more than things. The word is tithe, which means a tenth. What? You time, talent, and whatever you get, just like what you're doing now. See, you giving your tithes, you giving your service, and you giving whatever you can do. This is your time. See what I'm saying? But you're giving these things. Tithe is the word. It means tenth, but there's more than one tithe. Jesus said these things you should have done, but the others you should not have left undone. We tied to the mint, but you forgot about this. We did it, you forgot about that. You know what I mean? So tithes is an S on the word, Rhonda. And remember, when you're talking about, well, we're a New Testament church, we don't, because, and even in the New Testament, Paul told them people, he said, give as the Lord has prospered you to give. And then when I was growing up, I was a young preacher talking about these guys standing up talking about, I'm the pastor of a church and I'm going to give $100 and every man that thinks he's a man, I teach you to sit your ass down, because that's not what the Bible says. That's not what the Bible said. It said, give as the Lord has prospered you to give.
That's right.
And you know what I mean? And you in a given situation, you don't stand up and you got 300 members in your church and you give $100 that I want every man that thinks he's a man. Man, I jumped that thing on. I'm sorry. But it had nothing to do with the Bible. It was just showcasing. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You give your $100 and sit down. Don't be talking about, I'm giving $100 and every pastor in the East Side District. Those Negroes wouldn't go that. But so you don't do that. And when you give your tithes, it's personal. Nobody's supposed to do it.
Right.
If you make $100 a week, you give 10 for the tithe, but then you give some more things because you're there at the choir rehearsal. That's your tithe, and then you sing in the choir. It's your talent. So it's more than one thing with the tithe, but the tithe means a tenth. But you can give a 20%. The way I'm been so successful. I mean, not successful, but God didn't call us to be successful, but He called us to be faithful. But being faithful pays off.
Right.
You know, I mean, when I retired, I had over $250,000. You know, I mean, so and I wasn't worried about how I'm gonna do this. I'm still wondering how I'm gonna spend my money in several years.
Don't spend it. Don't spend it.
So the tide is important. Malachi, what is it? 3:8. Bring ye all the what?
Tithes into the storehouse, that
Is
there
it?
may be meat in my house.
But is it an S on it?
Bring ye all the tithes. Yes, it's an S on it.
Yeah. There you go. So it's more than one thing. It's more than the tenth because that's the tithe. But what are you gonna give more than that? And that's what you do. That's what you're doing now. You're giving your talent. You're giving your time, and then you go to
That's
the
good.
church and support it, and then you giving your talent by you singing.
Got
You
it.
got, you know, you see what I'm saying? And all this, and you're not a finished product. You're still under construction.
Right.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It definitely is. Um. So, how long have you been preaching, Daddy? How long you been a preacher? Is it like 30,
I'm, I'm glad.
40?
I'm glad you asked that question. Next
Huh?
Sunday, next Sunday will be my 45th year of preaching, pastoring, lecturing, teaching. Yeah,
Wow.
45.
45 years. Did you always want to be a
No,
pastor?
no, never did. Never did. And that's one of the things that most people don't know about me. And I'm going to tell you this. If you're going along with your question here, I never did want to be a pastor. You asked your mother. And some guys that was old preachers couldn't even read the scripture. You want to be a pastor? No. I knew I didn't want to be a pastor. Because what I was learning, Robin, was so I didn't want to be confined to a church. When people talk about what's going on in the church, is it a great problem with the church? I don't know because I'm at the same church every Sunday. You know, I have to look at the national news. It's a great falling away not over here because when we were down in Seminole, the people was coming from OU College and you know OSU and Shawnee, OBU and all that. They came and we filled a house.
Yeah.
We the house. And
Yeah.
so when we went to Mount Moriah, it was the same thing. They want to come see this new preacher, you know. And I was a heaven of a preacher because I was more than a preacher. God has blessed me, you know, to be a storyteller and all of that. So it was a blessing, but I didn't want to be a pastor. I never wanted to be a pastor because it made you just like Dr. Paul, Dr. Paul, my pastor. He's a pastor for 30 years. And you ask him what's going on, is it a great falling away like the Bible said? How can I know? When I'm over here at this church every Sunday. I never wanted to be a pastor because I thought it restricted me. I wanted to be more of an evangelist, but I didn't call myself. God called. And you have to bow down, you know what I mean? But now, as I look back, if I look back over the years, I'm grateful because the Lord has really blessed me. You wouldn't even have had a daddy if the things would have happened like they tried to happen. And I will, you know what I mean. So I can tell you, I can tell you viewers, but this is the truth.
I hear you.
It was they kidnapped me, and you know, crossed the years, they had the wrong guy.
You said they kidnapped you. How old were you then?
We were standing over at 233 Northwest 87th Street, right there in North Island. And it was one night, and I was entertaining guests, and they came in and answered the door. I thought it was cowboy, and then they put a 32 to my neck and pulled me right on out the house. Nobody knew. And I'll tell always want to tell you about it in front of your mama because, she sometimes people forget things, but she remembered that because it went on from the night until the day. And then it was Saturday night, and then it was Sunday morning when they released me. And the Dale City Police brought me back to my house, and they said, if you want to press charges, we'll work with those officers. They pistol with me. Yeah, it was about to give forward. Yeah. And the other day, I said to myself, I get dressed and go to Sunday school. That's where I learned the golden rule. Learn what God had me to do. Praise from what He brought me to. Sunday morning. Yeah, that Sunday
So,
morning. Cause that happened that Sunday morning. They let me go. And
so they released you on a Sunday morning. Did you go to church?
you're damn right.
Oh! What did the people say when they saw you looking like
I had on my shades. Let me say this. A partner of mine said as I reflect upon the good old days, I got to go and get some Lord to praise. Can't help it if my hand raised because I know my soul is saved. It happened Sunday morning, I'm telling you.
wow?
Early Sunday. Ask your mom. Ask your mom. Yeah, Sunday morning. Sure did. But see, I wanted you to know that because, sometimes, people can't remember everything.
Right.
Those things were joy to him, and she said,
I mean, yeah, that's
she will remember that. And there's some other things that I almost died in a plane crash. See, the devil been after me a long time. I got hit by a car twice. You know
God.
what I mean? I was young. I mean, 4 years old. Way. So, I mean, yeah.
God
But
has
yeah,
had His hand on me.
yes, sir. Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
I was gonna ask. I'm trying to figure out why. Why were you kidnapped? Like,
Because it was a case of what they call it, misidentification. They thought me and Cowboy went over there to spray the house. We went over there to spray the house, and then some people came in. I can tell you the story, but I don't want to take up your time, and unless you got the time, because I can tell
we
the
got
story.
it. Go ahead, tell me, because I
Okay,
don't.
so when they finally caught the guy, they had already pistol with me and took me to this woman's house, and then when I looked up, she said, "What are y'all doing with Reverend Leggins?" They say, "What are you doing?" This Negro, this. She said, "Not Reverend Leggins. He go to Tip Baptist Church. He's one of the ministers, as you know." And they said, well, he said this and he said that. I said, look, I'm trying to save my life. Listen, I saw myself in a coffin in a suit that I had never worn, but I had it in my closet. And that's why I quit buying them hot suits. You know what I mean? Because it didn't come with $50. It's clean. It was a herringbone stuff like I gave it to my brother. Because I saw myself. Here's what happened. They took me down to this dark area place, and then they said, we're going to ask you one more time. I thought I told you this before. And they said, if you ask us, they're going to find you where they found another person. That was they shot upon us. We found the answer. And Rhonda, I sat back. I didn't know what to do. I just sat back, and then they were talking, and then I saw an image of me move forward. And I'm sitting back. Couldn't move. Didn't even hear what they were saying. And they were talking and blah, blah, blah. And when that image came back to where I was, I could hear it. And the first thing they said, you should have told us that in the first place. I don't even know what was said to this day. To this day, I don't know what was said because I couldn't hear. I could just see. And that was God's intervention. And, went on. They took me back then. That lady saw me. She said, that's Reverend Leggins. You got the wrong man. Just like that centurion said when he saw Jesus die, we didn't kill the wrong man. You see what I'm saying? And they brought me back home, and the police escorted the car and stuff.
Did you ever preach a sermon on that, Daddy?
Nobody knows. Not too many people when I put it in, I put increments in because if I tell somebody, oh, Doc, that ain't happened, it happened. Ask your mom, it happened. You know what I mean? People were coming. God was working. People were coming to save me. West came across the street there with his gun and all this stuff. And then he'd run out of gas on the highway. So God was working with it because the West would come. West had a Russell.
Yeah.
And so, and he'd run out of gas. And that's my next. They said, well, this is it. But look at me now.
I know,
Look
right?
at,
Your hair
look
is
at
growing back and stuff. You don't let your hair grow back.
I got it combed back this week. Having this interview, I don't want to look like Dr. GX, But yeah, the things that God has done for me, I cannot tell it all. And I see. Well, go ahead with your next question.
No, girl, I'm good. I'm good. I'm at the end. So you said you had something that you wanted to ask me. So this is your time to ask.
Well, I wanted to know how long you've been hoping to this because I got several partners. I don't know.
This will be in June. It'll be for.
Hey, baby, how you doing? That's Black Pearl, precious little girl. Yeah, that's my heart right there, boy. Yeah, that, what you doing there, walking in on the. You looking all right. How did they go with that choir?
It went good.
You was in. Did y'all pay me?
How you doing, Grandpa?
He said, "Did you video it?"
Oh no.
How about that thing? That icon? That bump?
The what?
That bump going from? I'm talking with Chris. Is that bump going under your eye?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that
yes.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah, go ahead, Daddy, because we at the end. But I've been doing this since 2020. In June it'll be 4 years.
So little Papa must be 5 years doing that his radio station. Little Papa must be. Here's another question you asked. Do you think there's enough church life balance in the life of a preacher's kid? Of course. And you're a great example of that. How you balance your stuff with your kids and then your job. And, you're a member of the church and then you also, just not a member, you work in the choir. And so there's a church life balance in the life of a preacher's kid. For sure, because when you was a preacher's kid back then, you're still a preacher's kid, but you was just in the 9th grade. You concentrated and you became a championship team when you was in the 9th grade. You see what I'm saying? But you were still a member of the church where I was, and so it was balanced. I remember when you just give people free chicken, that man would never forget you, but he didn't know. But you worked at the chicken place,
Krispy Kreme, yeah.
So, but then you were balancing everything. Nikki, she did the same thing. She, when she was in high school, just like this, she wouldn't want to dress for, gym. She didn't want to sweat for nobody. And she was always look at her now. The same thing that she was doing, she's doing it now in a big way. She cosmetology and stuff. She concentrated on that, and at the same time, so yeah, you can do a lot of things if you want to. You can balance it, and you've done a great job. Nikki has done a great job. You just came back from Italy with your son and your daughter-in-law, and then you saw your grandchildren. You see, you balance the thing, and then you came back and went to work the next day. You went to sleep, but you're balancing, and so yeah, they can. It's a balanced life. We made sure you had a balanced life, and the thing that balanced your life was the educational part of Christianity.
Yeah, I think that y'all didn't. I mean, I got to play my sports when I needed to.
Yeah,
Usually,
so even
yeah,
the
I played my
balance.
sports. I got to socialize with everybody. It wasn't just the strictest household um,
Yeah,
that people would probably think just because our parents were in the ministry. And so, because we were a part of the ministry, I was in the ministry right with
yeah.
them. We worked right
I, wa- I,
along.
I was always down to earth as a pastor. My pastor was always down to earth, and there was simple things that people make big, and it didn't make me no big, stuff like that. Going, we did the church, we did the church. We were talking the other day, about, when you come into the what you call it, the sunrise service. When you go early on Easter. I didn't do it. And then when you said that a lot of times I didn't go, and I was wondering, I said, she said that
A lot of times, what?
that 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 I didn't go because I didn't do it but one year when I got that new church. But you said that y'all went.
Yeah, we went to sunrise service.
I know we did it one time, but I, it did. But it dawned on me. I said, now if I didn't go and I didn't make them go, why didn't they go? They wanted to go.
Mama would make us go because I think that's when we had. They would have the speeches and stuff all after we have Sunday school. Then we. It was a
I'm talking
long
about
day.
no. I mean, this is 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, you talking about
I
the sunrise service?
I ain't talking about Sunday school time. Yeah, what they call it, when Jesus got up or whatever. I said, Jesus got up probably at midnight. Because the scripture says, while it was yet dark. So why did they have the sunrise service?
Right.
They
I
came while
agree
it
with
was
that.
yet, yeah, they came while it was yet dark and they couldn't hardly see. They thought Jesus was somebody else. But so, but nowadays they got these cemeteries. Me and my partner went the other day and he was putting stuff on his mother and father's grave. And I just walked over because I knew where to do it. And then I walked over to this grave and the thing started talking. You could see the microphone said, this is the bride, and it was a girl that I knew, her family, but I didn't know her, but she was older, man, pretty girl. And I said, Jack, come here, man, let me down. I said, he's talking to you. He said, no, I don't want to see no stuff like that, man. And so they have it right at that Hillcrest Cemetery. When you first pull in on that first gate, you walk in there, and then you walk close to them things, and they start talking to you. Imagine somebody cutting across there at night.
I know.
You walk across there and say, where you going?
I just feel, you know what? And people like fads like that, so I feel like when they see one person do it, it's gonna be a lot of that going on. That's horrible.
But I mean, it was lucky for us. It was daytime,
Lucky
and
for
I was
right. Well, I
yeah.
mean,
He was
it's like
trying to
when
find he was trying to find his mom and daddy because they were side by side. But his daddy was in the army, so they get that brass thing. So we was looking, and then I went to the left, and then I walked over there and said, "You're just now walking into it," So these cemeteries are something else. I was teaching a class. About death and dying. She was about 75. She said,
I'm, su-
"Ah,
I'm surprised you was at the cemetery. You usually don't go back.
no, I went with my friend.
Oh, okay.
I don't go to simple. When I put you in the ground, that's it.
That's
Because
it.
that's your body, but your spirit and your personality and your integrity is not in that body. It's someone else. Now,
Right.
what can it be? Yeah, because it's
Right.
eternal. It's eternal, so it's not gonna. The body's gonna die here, and my grandfather, he lived to be 105 when he died. My mother died.
105. Is that what you shooting for, Daddy? You shooting for 105?
No,
106?
my goal is to make your goal to live until I die. So I leave all that other stuff up to anybody everybody when he died of too much fun, too much this, too much love. It doesn't matter. Once you're dead, you're dead. I mean, that Bible. And then why do you have a wake? Why do you have viewing of the body? And then what is awake in the first place? I told you what the meaning of awake came from. Back, yeah, well, back Abraham Lincoln, but they made it a spiritual thing, and
Oh,
not.
that's right. You did.
It's awake. Is awake. You come up there and they say, "Well, we wait on. He gonna wake up because if he does, he ain't gonna be here."
Ain't nobody gonna be there.
You know, he got up, and then but so you do that, and then it's just a family viewing, and then everybody come from 4 to 2. And for what? He's still dead. He's still dead. Now they tell me, you're not going to the funeral. I said, I can't make it this time. Well, you're the only one not going to the funeral. I said, not me. The one that died ain't gonna be there either. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
If he died in the Lord, blessed is the day that died in the Lord. You know what I mean? And so, and when the time to come, you instantly go. So he's not gonna be there.
They're not gonna be there.
That lady was talking about in the class, interrupting my class. I don't like people interrupting my class. I don't even like them raise their hand. I just write your stuff down because we're gonna have Q&A for 15 minutes after the class. You raise your hand, say something else out of line, I'm gonna put you out of class because you interrupted people who's trying to listen. Creative juices are flowing, and then you raise your hand. And I said, what you raising your hand for? Write it down. I might forget to write it down. Write it down, and we're gonna have, you know what I mean? I have to do stuff like that. And then when I have question and answer session, don't interrupt people's flow of information, and then their creative juices are flowing, and then you interrupt because you read, hey, everybody look over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you interrupt in my class, and so that's when I have discipline. I don't want nobody stopping the class. You got a question, you write it down because we got time for Q&A, question and answer. And if you keep on doing that, I'm telling you, you're not gonna follow the rules, man. Come on. And I don't care who they are.
I believe it. I believe I was raised by you, so I definitely believe it.
Yeah. But I ain't gonna put up with that. I'm not gonna put up with you interrupting people. And then when you go, they say, why he always trying? Is he trying? I don't know what he's trying to do, but he gonna learn this. He gonna get out. And that's the way I am. And I don't people.
Yes.
I love people who want to learn, but you gonna try to come and teach me. Teach the class? No. It ain't gonna happen because I guarantee you.
When is your next class, Daddy? When is your next class? If anybody wants to know, when's your next semester start? Or
Oh, here's the thing about that.
huh?
I have a new avenue, and I got it from you. I can do it if you can teach me how to do it on here.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm sitting in my house.
Right.
This virtual stuff, it might be all right.
It might be all right.
But listen,
I'm gonna buy you a new mic if that's what you're gonna do. But
don't bring me some new speakers tomorrow.
bring you some new Okay.
Because one of them out. But the thing is that if you're looking at what I look at and what you're doing, the scripture talks about there's gonna come a time when these kind of things are gonna be happening all over the world, and you ain't gonna have a problem. I ain't never heard the gospel. You can hear it in all different languages. You can speak to people now and not even be there.
Right.
And so they are there. And one of the things I want to teach you is the various gospel about gospel of prosperity. Jesus before he left heaven. But when he came down here, he said, the fowls of the air and the birds have nest, the foxes, but the Son of Man don't have no place to lay his head. And so that's what I want to talk about. The people that have a different, well, I think in your question here, it was something about being seared in consciousness or something. One of the things that you do that.
Okay, so we got about 4 minutes, Dad.
Well, I ain't gonna rush it.
Huh?
I ain't gonna rush it. So
Did you have any questions you want to
what you
ask?
want me to do? Wrap it up? Ladies and gentlemen,
Well, I wanted to make sure you had a
no,
chance
just
to ask the questions you wanted to
give
ask.
it just. Yeah, I wanted to know some of the things about how you got started. You said you going into the fourth year, and
How I got started?
these things that you're doing. Well, I already know that now. You already told me. But these things are just part of some of your question here because you're doing all those things. But that doesn't mean you ain't gonna get cussed out because you come into the construction zone and you don't have a hard hat on. Whose fault is that? Because the sign said have a under construction. Yeah. I didn't think she would say it to me. I didn't think he would do that to me being a brother. You better put your hard hat on. Because this is Christianity and it's a tough business. And everybody is under construction. We're not a finished product, but when we get finished, we're going to come through just like pure gold. But until that, we'll be under construction. And if you ever come into Rhonda's construction site, where your heart is. That's it.
Well, thank you so much, Daddy-O. Dr. Jesus, as we have nicknamed him over the years. As y'all can see, my daddy is hilarious. Like, I'm going to tell y'all right now, if you have a conversation with him, it will end in a sermon. I don't care. It's gonna be a sermon, no matter what. You're gonna get a good word. You're gonna get a good word. You're gonna get wisdom. I had wrote down some. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. This yours.
No, let me see. No, I didn't write it all down. I'll do that just me and you. I got a couple of things I gotta ask you, but it'll be offline. But go ahead, Daddy.
See how you can take a thought off?
Huh?
I just wanted to close. If that's the end of everything, I'm glad to be a part of that. I know a little bit about what you're doing, and I'm real happy for you. I'm real happy for you, and I'm gonna pray that these things go because you just have a natural life.
Thanks, Daddy.
The things that you on your questionnaire, you are part of the answer. Look at your sister, and look at your brother architect, and all that stuff like that. And Larry is a minister, but it takes time. He shares that time. He shares the instruction with his children. Sometimes he's grandfather, so you're doing good. And no matter about the bad rep that preachers' kids get, it's just that most of the time it's jealousy. And you didn't do anything wrong. You just acted like the rest of the kids got you behind what you got a lot, you know what I mean? But it wasn't no different about a pastor's kid. Nothing different.
I agree.
That's something that somebody agreed with without even having no information. And it's just like Ripley said, "Believe it or not." They had a comic book when I was a kid called "Believe It or Not," and it was up to you to believe it or not. But if you didn't believe it, that doesn't stop it from being something.
All right, so this is the last part of the show. We have a portion called No Judgment Zone. So no matter how you answer the question, no one's gonna judge you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say two things and you choose which one you would choose. Okay. All right. First one. Would you rather read a book or go watch a movie?
I'm just trying to see where I can. What, would I rather read a book or watch a
Watch a
movie?
movie.
Uh, Probably watch a movie.
Really?
Because
Now, that,
yeah,
now that
probably
I'm
I don't really
surprised.
read the book.
I'm definitely surprised
I
by
do a
that.
lot of things. I do.
Would you rather be singing on a stage or dancing on a stage?
Well, yeah. Singing, singing. Even though my last name is Leggins, my legs don't move. But I've still got both of them, you know. But I think the stage was my calling.
I do
Stage
too.
was my calling.
I do
Since I
too.
was like 12, 13 years old, you know. I've been on the stage and then got in choirs and stuff like that. Yeah, because I would rather be
What?
on stage. Yeah.
What?
Probably got a brand new band came out.
I was just about to ask, what genre of music, era of music do you like most? Would you say the the out of the 60s or the 60s, the 70s, or I'm gonna put in my 90s music.
I like the 70s, and you know I just like R&B, and I like jazz. My confident music is one of the things that one of the questions was what soul time meant, and the thing is, it's meditational time.
Okay.
So I can listen to jazz and get a lot of information just because I don't have to listen to words.
Would you
It's
rather listen to
that
the
lazy
Temptations or Aretha Franklin?
temptation.
Da-
Temptation.
David
I grew up
Sanborn,
with the Richard Franklin.
David
David
Sanborn,
Sanborn.
or
You
Al
said David.
Jarreau?
Yeah, that's a toss up, but I like the saxophone of David Sanborn. You know, I like jazz. So you know, Al Jarreau he mixed jazz with blues and stuff like that. He used to scat like so that's different. But they called it scat back in those days. You know, but the jazz it always lets me think because it's no words and a beautiful saxophone jazz like Dave Sanborn he played alto, tenor sax, and stuff like that. You know, I get that. That's why I love a lot of jazz.
Okay,
It
let's
just helps
turn
me
it.
think, and it helps me so help me make the soul time. It's just what it is.
Vodka or whiskey?
Vodka, Russian.
I was taught well. And last but not least, Bobcat or Trojan?
Say what? Say it
Bobcat
again.
or Trojan?
Listen, I love me some Bobcats because my children were Bobcats, but my loyalty, I'm a Trojan. I'm a Trojan.
I
Yeah,
was hoping because
that's
we
what.
graduated, you was gonna say Bobcats, but there you go.
Well, I said, you know, I said Bobcats, but I'm
You
loyal to the Trojan because y'all did a lot of things, and all of y'all come out of there, and I pull for the Bobcats as long as they're not playing the Trojans.
did. He loyal
It's
to
just
his
like
Trojan.
it's just like it's just like OU and OSU. OU and OSU. I always go OU, but I got a lot of friends that come out of OSU.
All right, Daddy. Thank you so much for being part of the show today. I will talk to you in probably 15 minutes or so.
Glad that you
I'll holler at you later, okay?
okay.
All
Okay.
right, bye. Hey guys, thank y'all so much for being part of the conversation. As y'all can tell where I get everything from. So so anyway, guys, tune in. Now there will not be a show next week, but there will be one the following week, the 18th. We'll be back on the 18th. But thank you so much for being. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate it for coming, Nicole. Guys, you please make sure you share. Carolyn, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Y'all have a blessed night. Goodbye.